Everybody, welcome to Round the Twist episode, I don't even know, 335? Does that sound right? It is July 1st, 2018, so happy Canada Day to all of my Canadian viewers. Ooh, kind of crooked. There we go. Happy almost 4th of July to everyone in the USA. Everyone else, yay, it's a new month. So first things first, what I have on my needles. Again, not a whole lot, but there's a reason for that. So, riding around in here are all those little balls of Socks That Rock yarn that I got from my mom. So, I talked about how either the previous episode or the one before, either 333 or 334, the one that I had the rice bag riding around on my shoulder and neck, I basically gave myself, strained a muscle because I was crocheting too much. So I've been trying to take it easy. So the stained glass blanket, take two. I'm also sitting in a different desk chair, which is kind of wonky, so I'm sorry if I'm fidgety, more fidgety today. So the stained glass blanket, take two. Let me get back to, I didn't write out show notes. Again, terrible. This is the Juggling Hexes pattern by Wendy Harbaugh, which is a free pattern. Okay, let me tell you, my basement is in complete disarray right now than what I'm used to, so I've got things I have to reach for that are much further off camera than they should be. Here's the blanket as it stands. This huge thing. Oh, it smells good. I don't know what I put in there that makes it smell good, but it smells good, so yay for things smelling nice. The last added row was this one up here. Got my little stitch marker, Progress Keeper from Melia Bella. Got the little rhinestone North Star. So I haven't joined any of the hexagons that I've done, that huge stack that I had before. I basically didn't even pick up a crochet hook for an entire about week and a half. And the other night I was like, I can get through one ball. So one ball should be 3 hexagons. So I pulled out, and this is going to be kind of hard to see because it is one of the Raven colorways from Blue Moon. I believe this is Thraven. And it's got teal behind it. There we go, about there. So you see the little teal pops and then it's all overwashed with black. So I managed to get 2 full-size hexies and one that's only 3 rounds, but with the black that I'm edging it with, it looks fine. I did it with another one of the brighter colors. So I've got my 3 hexies, that's done. I need to weave in that end, obviously, on that third one, but when I got done with that, shoulder was starting to hurt again, so I stopped. I was good. I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors left in here. They're kind of all going higgledy-piggledy on me and unrolling, but that's okay because there's only 6, so they can't get super tangled. I have another Thraven, one that I think is Socktopus. Not sure about this one. It's probably one of the holiday colors. Or this one. It's pretty, but I don't know what it is. It's like blues and browns and cream, and I think there's a little bit of green thrown in there. And then brown, a straight brown that I believe is Stumptown brown. And then this like scummy mustardy yellow color, yellow-green. And that's all I have left. That's it. Of the ones that my mom gave me. And then I need to start joining them all on the big blanket. So I'll go easy. I'll take my time. The blanket itself, like I said, it's the Juggling Hexes pattern by Wendy Harbaugh. I'm using all Socks That Rock medium and lightweight scraps. And then the black is the Loopy You Solid series, which is no longer in existence, to my knowledge, or at least not this iteration of it, in black. I have plenty, I hope, to finish the blanket. I think I've got like 6 more skeins that I haven't touched of the black. And this is one in part of a second, and I'm getting better at conserving what I'm doing. So I love how it's looking though. This, like, Tara will grab it when I have it out and put it, it just fits over her legs, like her hips down to her toes. She'll say, I love this. It's the perfect weight. So the fingering weight yarn was the way to go, even though it will take forever to finish. I'm using an F hook, which is a 3.75 millimeter needle. Hook. Good dear. Good old Susan Bates aluminum hook. I'm not going fancy or anything with this. So taking my time. I hope to start joining on colors relatively soon so we can progress the big blanket. All right, that's it. That's all I have on my needles because I have an FO. So I realized it's been almost 2 weeks since I recorded. I think I'm going to change up when I record. I'm going to switch to recording on Sundays. That way it can take the rest of the week, just because I now consistently have every weekend off with my new job, which I'm loving, by the way. The working Monday through Friday and shorter hours thing, it takes some getting used to, but I'm loving it. Loving it. This is not the bag I need. I'm done with that bag. I need this bag. So the last 2 weeks since I started work at my new job, riding around in the TARDIS bag, have been my socks for Tara. So let me get to that page. Excuse me. So when we went up to the Estes Park Wool Market, I let the kids each pick out a skein of sock yarn from the White Birch Fiber Arts booth. And Tara picked the colorway there's her tag. And I love her tagline that friends don't let friends craft with insipid yarn. This is her 80/20 superwash merino and nylon. It is 400 yards, 100 grams, and the colorway is called Purple First. And that is this. It's a much better, let me, hang on, I'll do that. There we go. Better color. Still not quite right, still kind of blue, but that's okay. It is a hot magenta and a royal purple that kind of fades to a lavender. So, when last you saw us, I feel like one of those serial 1950s westerns, like, meanwhile, back at the ranch, or when last you saw us, we were doing this, and they always had the recap at the beginning, because they'd always leave you hanging. So, I was to wear my little progress marker, is clipped in, which was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 stripes into what turned into 17 stripes before I did the toe. The pattern is Genevieve's Tube Socks. It's by Jasmine and Gigi from the Knitmore Girls. It's available for $1, or even if you go to the pattern page, they're like, hey, if you don't want to pay $1 that goes into their kids' adventure funds, it can, because they basically give you the whole thing, you just have to write it down. In one of their episodes, and they tell you which episode it is, and I think the minute mark that you have to go to listen to it. I paid for it because, hello, I have young kids too. However, I did kind of riff off the pattern. So they do 2 sizes for these tube socks. They do a 48 stitch and a 56 stitch. Those, when the last time I did them for Terry and Gabe, they were getting kind of tight. They're kind of hard for the kids to pull on. We have to like shove them on while they're pushing their foot in. So I did these over 64 stitches on a US 1, a 2.25 millimeter needle. I'll turn the light back on, or the monitor back on, so I can tell you more about them. So I had gotten up to 12. I did my 5 rows, I did the toe. And oh gee, I did the other sock too. So since you last saw us, I did about a little less than a sock and a half for a toddler. And these are practically knee socks when I had her try them on. So I'm so excited about these. She's excited. They remind me of the Cheshire Cat, just the colors. And I don't know if you'll be able to, yeah, you can kind of see it. The color's atrocious. I'm very sorry. But you can kind of see how it's deeper right where the color's going to change and then gets lighter in the middle. It's kind of a fade a little bit inside each stripe. So that's really cool. So that's my FO of the week. I started those June 18th and I finished them June 30th. Finished it last night while we were watching a movie after the kids went to bed. Yay! So I've got all this left over. I'll figure out something to do with it. And Tara has a new pair of socks, so huzzah. They still need to be washed, obviously, because I just finished them last night and woven the ends. So, but everything's woven in. They are ready to go. They are awesome. I love those socks for kids. There's no foot length. It just keeps, like, as their foot grows. So if this is the toe, and their little foot is only this long, and then it gets that long, and then it gets that long, the cuff just gets shorter, and where the heel is just moves further out. I love it. I suppose rather than a wedge toe, you could make a star toe too, so it doesn't have to go a specific way, so the heel isn't always wearing in the same spot. That's a thought. Might do that next time. So those are done. So I have another section for you guys. I know Tour de France, which means Tour de Fleece, is starting soon. I'm planning on breaking out the wheel for that. I kind of want to do this that I got last year at Interweave Yarn Fest. It's Greenwood Fiberworks. Her 50/50 Yak Silk blend in the Paper Roses colorway. It is gorgeousness. It's very subtle though. It's going to be kind of hard to show on the show, but you know, I'll figure something out. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I have another section for you though. I promised you another section, right? This is Pokey Things. I sat down yesterday. So here's the thing. New job. Like I said, love it. Still love it. It's awesome. It just, after working in the hospital for so long, it almost doesn't feel like a real job. It is a real job though, but it's so weird for me not to be this gigantic ball of stress all the time. And it's nice to be relaxed and awesome and be appreciated. But the plus side of it is, we can wear whatever we want within reason. Direct quote from my boss, "We don't care what you wear as long as your bits are covered." So since I'm a nurse going out into people's homes, I still want to wear scrubs. I don't have to wear the navy blue all the time. I can wear whatever I want. So I went to Joann's the other day, and if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen what I got, which was a couple of things, I'm so specific, a couple of yards of a couple different kinds of fabric. And yesterday during nap time, I sat down back in my craft room. Back there you can now see my sewing table, that white thing right there. That's my sewing table. I have my sewing machine set up on it. Moved things around a bit. And my friend Sarah was in there with me as my cheerleader slash moral support slash, oh my God, help me figure out this sewing pattern. And I made a scrub top. So I have a new scrub top to wear this week. I'm very excited. It is, I'm going to flip it around so you can see the back so you don't see all my wonky neckline because it did not go together perfectly. This is, it's like Star Wars Sugar Skulls, kind of. It has that Dia de los Muertos feel to it. So you have R2-D2, you have Boba Fett, you got Darth Vader over here, C-3PO's on there. Who else? TIE Fighter helmets, TIE Fighter and Stormtrooper helmets. I think that's it. And then the Rebel symbol and the Imperial symbol and a whole bunch of funness. But like from a distance, it just looks like a floral pattern. So even if my elderly participants, patients don't understand what it is, it just looks pretty and festive. So yay! Yay for sewing something that works, that fits. I still have to trim threads because I just didn't do that yesterday. It took 3.5 hours for a very simple pattern to go together. Yes, I'm putting it on camera. I don't care because you guys have no idea how excited I am about this. It's gonna lay wonky. Of course it is, because I have a t-shirt underneath it and I normally won't be wearing a t-shirt underneath it. There we go. So the neckline's a little weird because that was the part we had the most problem figuring out, was the crossover in the front and what we were supposed to do, but yay, it fits. It looks good. I have pockets. I'm so happy with this. You guys have no idea. So I've got another 2 yards of fabric back there that is like a Beauty and the Beast like the stained glass window from the beginning and the end of Beauty and the Beast. It's Belle and the prince dancing together with the rose in stained glass, and I'm very excited to be able to wear fun scrubs again. You guys have no idea. So yeah, that was my pokey things. I'm back to sewing. I'm planning on kind of sewing a scrub top every weekend-ish. We'll figure it out. Like stop at Joann's on my way home from work, get a couple yards of fabric, wash it Friday night, and Saturday I can sit down and sew. I've got a couple of dresses for Tara that I'm still planning on sewing, and yeah, should be fun. So we kind of sagged into various and sundry. Work is great. Still, love it. Just an offhanded thing I had mentioned to my boss like a week-ish ago, week and a half ago. I had just made an offhanded comment about, hey, do you guys need a respiratory therapist? Because, you know, my husband's a respiratory therapist and he'd really love it over here. She's like, I don't know if any of the centers have that. Well, this last week, her boss, so my boss's boss, like the regional boss. How many times can I say boss? Was in the center for other stuff, and right in front of me, my boss brought it up to her boss that, hey, do any of the centers use respiratory therapists? And she's like, I don't think they do. But I don't see why we couldn't. We have a vulnerable population. We've got COPD, and elderly are always prone to pneumonia, and that would be a great idea to start with. And my boss is like behind this lady. The lady's talking about it to me for some reason. And my boss is like making googly eyes at me because I'm the one who suggested it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then I finally went, okay, full disclosure, the reason she brought it up is because I brought it up to her because my husband's respiratory, and she's like, no, I'll check into it. It's a good idea. It would be a great idea to have someone here to take care of the oxygen home setup and this and that. And I was like, oh, really? So we'll see where we go from there. But it's so nice to like have suggestions appreciated and understood, and yeah. So loving the job. Loving the job. Let's see. Next on the needles, I've got a couple of things wound up because obviously I have, aside from like hibernating projects, I don't have anything on my needles right now. Like once Tara's socks were done last night, that was it. That's all of my knitting that I have upstairs. So I've had Gabe's sweater yarn because I had told the kids while I was knitting the socks for one, I'd knit the sweater for the other. So I pulled out the Sun Valley Fibers. This is our 100% Blueface Leicester Superwash DK. And the colorway is called Cricket. I'm going to call it Kermit because no one will tell me that is not Kermit green. And Tara picked out a very Miss Piggy pink. So I'm going to dub these their Muffin Babies sweater because they haven't been pronouncing Muppet Babies when it's been on Disney. They call it the Muffin Babies show. So these are their Muffin Babies sweaters since they picked those. And I pulled out my ebook of Heart on My Sleeve, which isn't available anymore, but the individual patterns are. And I believe, oh, poo, hang on. I can't remember which one I chose, what the name of it is. It's the one in there by Isolde. It's not Wholehearted. It's not Crazy Heart. It is Hearthstone. So it's a bottom-up sweater with raglan decreases that have cable detail going up the raglan decreases. It's really cute. It's going to be nice and simple, classic, but in Kermit green for Gabe. So I'm going to start a sleeve and swatch that. For him, the sleeve will be the swatch. We'll go from there. And then, just because a sweater's not exactly portable when I have to drag the pattern along with, I also pulled out his skein of White Birch Fiber Arts sock yarn that he chose. And he picked, it's the same stuff that Tara did. It's the 80/20 Superwash Merino and Nylon. He chose Fade to Black. Focus. It's not going to focus. There it goes. So this is like a black to gray fade stripe, and then in between that fade stripe, like the fade on these stripes was, is a rainbow. He wanted rainbow socks. This boy, I don't know, he's become foot obsessed. Anytime I have some kind of stripy socks on and have them propped up on the couch, he comes running, rainbow socks, and he hugs my feet. I'm gonna break him of the foot fetish, because that's just kind of a little weird. Especially when they're straight out of my work shoes and they're kind of sweaty. I'm like, oh, don't touch my sweaty feet, gross. But he will flip over these socks, and I'm very excited. And I'm excited about the sweater too, because I need to get going. What else? What else? So Tour de Fleece is coming up. Stash Dash from the Knit Girls is ongoing. I am undecided on whether I'm participating or not. I'm just trying to crank stuff out in the meantime, so we'll see. Go from there, and like I said, we'll switch to recording every Sunday. I'll try to keep it to shorter segments, keep it to weekly. We'll obviously have another Pokey Things segment as we go, and yeah, I'm excited. So until next week, everyone, happy knitting.